everybody to another Moy Family Association DC Zoom. Tonight we're going to be covering stretching and flexibility. Now we'll be going from beginner to advanced. So we'll start off very basic, and then we'll get into some advanced skills. So anybody out there that has done a lot of dancing or gymnastics over the years and they just want to brush up a little bit, we'll go all the way up to the higher levels. Okay, so let's get started. Easy stuff, and then at the end we're going to have a little question and answer period like we always do. So very basic stretching to start with. Just lifting the arms, open the rib cage, exhale, draw down, bending forward, fold the palms up, lift, inhale, exhale, press. So this basic flex exercise, if you've never done any stretching or flexibility routines, this is a very easy way to start. Then outside, and this is being recorded, so you can come back and repeat as you need it. Draw through, cross the wrist, and circle to the outside. But make sure you include the rib cage. Right. So here's what you don't want to see. Not just sitting here or leaning against your chair, just doing this with the arms. Right. There's no real stretch involved. You want to sit up into the tailbone, back away from the back of the chair. Right. Cross and lift, and actually open the rib cage, which is our oblique and ab structure connection. Lift it. Release to the side and close. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale to the outside and down. Good. Then over the side. Open the foot base a little wider if you're sitting. Now, all of these routines are old traditional stretching exercises from China. And this one is called Tiger Looks Through the Moon Gate Window. So this actually comes from 5 Animals of Shaolin strength program. It's a very good stretch. It involves not only the ab and oblique connection, but now the latissimus down the outside ridge. Good. Cross in front again. Standard opening. Lift. Inhale. Exhale down. We're not going to do a lot of repetitions because, again, you can go through this video, hit the exercise you like, pause it, do as many repetitions as you want. Next one, the standard pushing forward and then twisting the palms so that the fingers aim at each other. To the outside, pull back. Keeping your breath connected. Exhale as you push. Inhale when you draw back. Good. After a few reps of all those, then just release, shake the arms. Then we want to warm up the leg muscle, hip connection a little bit because those are the largest muscle groups we have to deal with. So you want to tip the heels forward and then a little slapping massage. We're just going to slap or pound from the outside to the inside leg. We're going to spend a little bit of time for any of the hollows, like under the knee. Same thing for the arms, inside elbow, but also where the larger arteries are. Outside, inside. Over and under. And now you can loop it up behind the hip, over the top of the hip bone. Behind the knee, follow. Draw back. Take that friction heat we just built up in the palms and massage it right around the patella, right around the kneecap. hold it in front. Good. Then for the core, soft fist pounding around the intestinal ridge, lower abdomen. Up the center line. Pull the elbows back outside rib cage. So now with our trunk or core of the body pounding, we're getting on top of the sternum, the thymus gland. Okay, not the thyroid. Thyroid's here at the base of the throat. Thymus, which is our cell regenerator. Okay, and then pulling to the outside of the rib cage, we have lymph nodes along the sides of the ribs. Under the rib cage, lower sector, we have liver on the right side, spleen on the left. Good. Now we're going to spend a little bit of time over the sternum, so we have the pericardium, the heart connection, of course, under the collarbone. Good. Scrape, and I'll give you the side view. Using your knuckle ridge, we're going to scrape as high as we can reach up the back over the kidneys and down to the hip bone. It's a very good, again, glandular internal organ warm-up for the whole body. Same direction from top to bottom, pound. And again, over the kidneys, we have another glandular structure, the suprenal glands or adrenal glands, the old terminology from Gray's Anatomy. Then we're going to go to the arms, over and under. And inside bicep area, another large artery. Armpit hollow, lymph nodes. Around and the inside elbow. Now, on top of the elbow connection, forearm, we have a little bone nub or ridge there. TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine, they refer to that as your antibiotic button. If you push the thumb, get a little closer, push the thumb into that forearm elbow V connection, and then down in a little bit. It doesn't feel good. It has a little ouchy or soreness to it, but you can rotate your thumb right on that little bone nub in there. And the same thing, both arms. And of course, you do the same thing with the other arm. Now, inside, self-hug, press down, all the way from the back of the hip, lower lumbar, as far as you can go. And then slowly roll up through the backbone, neck bones, and then skull is last. Do a few reps of these. And reverse the arms over. So with this self-hug inside V to the elbow and then shoulder to shoulder, we're also stretching the scapula in the back, the shoulder blades. And the same thing, a few more reps with that. Now, all the basic stretching flexibility routines are connected to some Chinese Kung Fu, Tai Chi, or Qigong style. There's over 350 different styles out of China. So sooner or later, you're going to run into one of them. All these basic ones usually have a foundation in the old Shaolin Qigong or stretching routines. Now, palm, hand, finger, thumb connection, pushing outward and stretching the palm of the hand, thumb, fingers as wide as you can, like you're trying to reach something with each finger and thumb tip, and then squeeze the fist really hard. Roll it through, open the palms, and repeat. All these are very good for, not only drawing the nervous system activity, but heat to the bone, muscle, joint connections, and of course, increased blood flow. So if you have poor circulation, if anyone's suffering from a neuropathy, hands or feet, this will definitely help. Squeeze and roll. We had a few reps of those, and again, shake. Side to side, top and bottom. And of course, we're coming into November pretty soon here, colder weather. People my age and older might have a little trouble with blood circulation. These are very good to do on a daily basis. Lateral throw. Basic, open, and then down the center. Exhale on the way down. Inhale, again, lifting through the rib cage. You want to really expand that rib cage from the hip bone, and then press back down towards the hip bone. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Good. So add as many reps as you need to or want to with any of these basic ones. The next section, of course, is going to be the legs. The core, the body, very good because we're getting all that massage process to the internal organs, right? The arms, because we do all of our handiwork, of course, hands, wrist, elbow, shoulder. If you have lack of range of motion, you can do it very slowly. So instead of, this big open circle, if you don't have any problems, great. If you have a shoulder glitch, maybe bursitis, rotator cuff, something, going on there, you can do a smaller frame. Just work with what you can move through. Before long, if you do enough reps on about 3 times a week, you'll find that improving. You'll find your range of motion starting to open up. If you don't do anything and just complain about it, of course, entropy, the muscles will start going backwards and not giving you any more range of motion. They'll start to decrease. So you want to try to keep them as active as possible. The slapping massage is a very easy way to start warming up the body. If maybe a senior citizen that can't get up and out or do any standard exercise. Maybe they're wheelchair or bedridden. You can do that for them. Your own basic, help the senior massage process. You can, lightly slap their arms and legs, right? Or maneuver their legs for them, pick up their ankle and knee, and gingerly, open and close the leg, getting that blood circulation and the open and close movement to the muscle joint connection again for them. So legs next. We always do the invisible ball or holding the basketball hoop idea as a standard Qigong routine. Then raise the knee as high as you can, pull the toes up, and push the heel up. Now, I've been doing this a couple weeks. This is year 54 for me. Maybe you can't get your leg this high. Maybe you can get it higher. Whatever you can work with. Okay. And point and tilt. Your side view, we're pointing the toe outward and pulling the toes back. Then rotate around the ankle. So a big stirring motion with the foot-ankle connection. Reverse it. When you draw back, use the opposite elbow into that knee and squeeze and release. Good. Now, you'll do the same thing, both legs, right? So you have to hold the ball, draw that knee, push that foot up as high as you can. When you get done with those, after the muscles are, a little tired, maybe, again, if you haven't stretched for a long time, might be a little sore, then you can do that same heel tip and slap all over again, right? That'll increase the blood circulation and rejuvenate the leg, the muscle connection feel. Okay. Next one. Draw, just basic lifting with palms. Turn the palms over, press down. Lift through the body, inhale nose. exhale, mouth. And again, I know I'm going through this kind of quickly, but review the video. You can pause it whenever you need to, repeat as many as you want. Palms up, now draw through the waist. We're going to make a large figure 8, past the waistline, lift the elbows up the center, circle forward. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. And usually when you do synchronized action, both arms doing the same thing at the same time, it's pretty easy to keep track of. If you've been through any of my other exercise Zooms or programs, we do that left side of the brain coordination skill activity. So we make shape differences. We do circle with one hand, square with the other. Now, of course, at first, if you haven't done, three-dimensional coordination split like this before, it's a little tricky at first. But as soon as you synchronize it, double circle, oh, well, that's pretty easy to keep track of. Same thing with the larger frame arm or leg movement. So now we're going to reverse that figure 8. Extend the arms forward, open the forearms, dive down the center, press back, gather to the waist. So it's the same track of motion, just opposite direction. Keeping the breath nice and deep. This one in particular actually comes from Chinese opera. As some of you might know, Chinese opera has very little prop or gear on stage with them, and you pretend or mime through a lot of different things. So this is actually their diving in the water, swimming motion in Chinese opera. That open, close, dive in the water, push the water back. But it's a very good stretch for the wrist, elbow, shoulder, and again, connecting the trunk of the body. And now, back to the legs. We're going to do a little side press. If you don't have any ankle, knee, or hip problems, you can do a lateral stretch to the side. Again, pulling that knee up as high as you can, pushing the leg out to your side. Now, again, I've been doing this a little while. Maybe when you lift your leg, you can only lift it this high. Maybe when you press the foot, you can only get it to here. And maybe after a few seconds, you have to rest your heel on the ground. That's fine. Slowly, one step at a time. Right? So this is just a draw and press with the leg. Trying to get that side lateral connection from the thigh, hip. And same thing other side. Raise that knee as high as you can. Press that leg out. Draw and press. Usually in my group classes at this point, I'll say, and no cussing. Sometimes the feeling that stretching gives you at first is a little much, again, taking it slowly. Now, open that big circle, release the whole body, down the center and press, just like we did in the beginning. Lift, inhale, exhale. So going from basic stretches, right? We're going to go into a little bit more intermediate. I'm going to stand up for a few, and then when we get to the advanced stuff, I'll be on the floor for a couple. Intermediate stretching will involve more of the 5 animals or Lohan, the old 18 monks routines. Right? So I'm going to stand up. Basic 18 monks will look pretty similar to the beginning ones we did in the chair, but now you're relying on your own stability, your own balance point. For balance improvement, you want to think of the whole foot, heel, instep, ball of the foot, and toes. Let your body weight rest on the heel instep and then grab the floor with the toes. Soften the knees a little bit and sit in the tailbone. Here's your side view, right? So we want to think of the top of the skull down into the hip bone as a straight line. Soften the knees, sitting on the tailbone as if you're sitting on a stool. Grab the floor with the toes. If you stand like this, right, you're lunging out of the sternum, your head is tilted or maybe drooping, right, you're going to put weight in a weird place and it'll start making you unstable. So, nice straight posture, settle, grab the floor with the toes. First one is a Gao Xing Fall, Happy Buddha. Pressing up, draw back. Exhale as you push. This is from 18 Monks. Second one, Pressing Waters. Next one, Separate Forest. Next, Reach Heaven, Touch Earth. And a little twist to the body. When you're twisting though, look at my knees. Be careful not to do this. Don't let the knee collapse or pronate. Keep the knees open over the heel. Then reverse that one. Pushing forward, closing the door. And as you're watching me do this, look for three-dimensional focus or activities through my whole body. Again, here's your side view for that last one. Closing the door. Whole body lifts and opens. Whole body settles. If you're doing this slight activity and the body's not moving or connected, you're not going to get the real benefit from this. Try to get as much muscle grouping, skull to hip involved as possible. Okay. Another good one from 5 Animals, excuse me, Shaolin, 5 Animals, starts off with Tiger. We open the foot base a little wider. This in and of itself will give you a nice hip to leg stretch, okay? Doesn't have to be real deep. You know, the more advanced version of this would be, you know, maybe down to here, thighs parallel. Doesn't have to be that extreme. Just open a little bit wider than shoulder width. Then back to that tiger, looking through moon gate window. We use the claw separation for the fingers, which also gives you a hand, finger, thumb stretch, but that's not necessary. You can just leave the palms normal. But again, pressing over the side. So again, the standing version really stretches that lat, gives you stability on the hip, support leg side. Keeping your breath nice and deep. Draw, and then switch to the other side. Now, if you're not the intermediate level, revert back to the chair exercises. They'll be similar, but not quite as active. Right? Okay. Dragon. I'm going to give you kind of a front side view here. We press outward from the shoulder and waist. Twist in the arm. Again, one of the Shaolin 5 Animals. And same thing other side. Now, white crane, probably the least aggressive out of the 5 animal system from Shaolin, but very good because it involves the instep calf muscles as well as the arm-shoulder connection. Here's your side view. Wings overhead, pressing out of the heels. Same thing other side. Standard, right, across the board, no matter what exercise program you do, basic touch your toes. Okay. Using the chair again real quick, just to take you from beginner to intermediate. Sitting down, put the feet in front of you. Right. Touch the toes, same thing. Bending from the belt line, just reaching down as far as you can. If you go to the toes, great. If you can go past the toes, great. Okay. Roll back slow. Same thing standing. If your balance and stability is okay, put your feet directly together, heels and toes touch. Then bend from waist. Bend the knees and roll out of the stretch. Don't just try to lift from the lower lumbar to your side view. And bend the knees, roll out. If your stability isn't so great, balance is off a little bit, you can open the bipoding of left and right a little bit. Put the feet apart, then try. Same process. A straight stretch, bend as you roll out of it. Going from that beginner to intermediate idea, touching the toes, great. And then we want to open the leg hip connection a little bit more. So you can take that as wide as you want, or can. You can do an outside press, palms on the floor. And then walk the feet heel and toe. So this is a little bit more, not really advanced, but definitely on the upper intermediate area. Walk them back in. And again, roll out of the action. Not just a quick lift or jump out, roll through, make everything a massage process when you release it. Another good one, shoulder width or a little bit wider. Draw across and pull like you're pulling the string of an archery bow. Exhale, pull. Now, as you're pulling, we're getting this shoulder, the deltoid, pectoral ridge connection to the sternum, opening, and in the back, which you don't see, is you're now compressing against the spinal cord. So now the scapula and the upper traps are involved. Same thing, other arm. Exhale, inhale, pull across. Overhead reaching. Now, in the old days, they used to say, oh, well, senior citizens, anybody over the age of 50 shouldn't raise your hands over their head. It's like, why? Right? Well, it does increase blood pressure. If you don't have any blood pressure problems, you can reach as high as you want to, or, stretch and do that, monkey climbing up the ladder idea. If you do have some blood pressure issues, maybe not aggressively, but you can still use your range of motion, right? Slowly, softly, maybe only just above the forehead a little bit until you get used to it. But your blood pressure will regulate to the action. So you can start here and then increase slowly as you go, maybe a couple weeks at a time. Reach as far as you can, stretch the fingertips, maybe again, push out of the heels, involve the calf muscles. Now, if you've played along at home, if you've done this many exercises with me so far, your body should be pretty well three-dimensionally warmed up. All the major joint muscle connections will be ready to go for any activity. They usually suggest doing stretching every day and at least before any major activity. I don't care, it doesn't have to be a sport. You're going to go out to rake the leaves, before the snow flies, do these warm-up exercises. So the next day, after all that raking, you won't go, oh, why is my lower lumbar hurt? Oh, my knee. Warm the muscles up first before you do any larger activity or an activity that you don't do very often. How are we doing on time, Don?
Half an hour in. 7:30.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go into the intermediate stretching a little bit more. This one involves the Kung Fu choreography, but you'll see the application of, again, the latissimus, the oblique, and the ab structure being used. This is coming from a Fu family style, which is a Wudong Shan, Wudong Mountain, Kung Fu is a wrap around the body, pressing out of the rear heel. Release forward, roll overhead, cut across, shoulder coil, and press and wrap to the other side. Now I'll break this one apart into the basics. This is what it looks like going through the other side. All right, so this first wrapping arm, just like we did with the rolling figure eight. So this is a combination, again, of getting into a little bit more of the upper level intermediate movement. So we take this basic rolling eight, we take the basic shoulder coil, which is really good for, again, the deltoid pec connection. The carry across, which uses the, again, the abs and oblique connection, twisting that side to side. And as you notice, when I twist side to side, the knees, again, don't pronate or collapse. I don't go to the side and then collapse to the side. No, keep that open. The wrap around the body comes from body coiling, right? Another Qigong routine for sternum, lymph nodes, and the kidneys or adrenal glands. Here's your side view. It creates basically a figure eight on your body from collarbone to lower lumbar. And I'm just turning to give you that three-dimensional view of this. So when we combine all those together, you end up with the upper level intermediate Fu family style coiling. Here's the body wrap. Here's the rolling figure eight. Carry across, shoulder coil, and then wrapping body to the other side. Breaking that down into the basics again, just revert back to the chair exercises we started with. You'll see all these little pieces, jigsaw puzzled that we eventually put together into the advanced stretching. I would say out of the leg, hip connection, those are probably the ones that are most strenuous for most people. But after you get them opened up, right, and it doesn't take real long. Here's more of the intermediate to advanced connection. This is called monkey holds feet. If you've been in ballet or gymnastics, they just call it butterfly stretch. But you get on the ground. And, if you can't get on the ground, you can do this sitting in your bed as well, or on the couch. But the feet together is the standard that they do. Normally, people hold their toes and then bounce the knees a little bit to open this up. So the thigh-hip connection gets, more flexible. The way we approach it in Kung Fu is a little different. We allow the feet to relax. We take the hands and dive over the top of the ankle so the fingers and thumb are forward and under the ankle. So that way it doesn't pull the toes up. Right? Then you open from the waist or belt line, press down. Then roll back through the spine. Now, when I first started doing this one, my feet were close, my knees were up in the air, and I was trying to press from the sternum this way, thinking, oh, I'll never get down there. Well, yeah, if you approach it that way, you'll never get down there. You have to really open the hip and leg, allow it to relax as much as possible. When you bend down, don't try to use the sternum and chin. Don't do this, right? Keep this straight, bend from the belt line. And it doesn't matter if you only get this far, you're doing the stretch better or more properly, right? So just that very soft, again, rolling ocean wave idea, or snake striking with the tip of your nose and roll back through the spine until you can increase the press further down. Here's your side view again. So this would be beginner level, just keeping the feet together, the knees relaxed away from the hip, shoulders relaxed down. Intermediate level gets you closer to your feet. And you can see when I release it, I roll up through the spine, neck, and then skull. And then the more advanced level would be actually touching your forehead, nose, or chin to your shoes. But the roll out, the release is still the same. Next process that would again cross over from intermediate to advanced. If you can sit on the floor, or if it is more comfortable on your bed, letting one leg relax all the way down, and then cross over to the outside knee. So at first people say, "Oh, it's like a pretzel." Well, it might feel that way a little bit at first. You're just taking it as far as you can, and just being able to sit comfortably in this position at first is a good undertaking. Hold the knee and press the hip a little bit, just trying to, again, open and close that leg-hip connection. If you have the crossover point and it starts to feel comfortable, or at least you can hold your balance without tipping over or tipping backwards, you can do the same press from the belt line, head over the shoe, and roll back. Again, if you're going from basics to intermediate, or intermediate middle level to advanced, maybe your press will only be this far. That's okay. Right? Just take it as far as you can. And of course, you'll do that on both sides. People usually, once we do a performance somewhere, I always, I'm going to be 69 years old next month. I know, I can't believe it either. But people usually, can you do a split? Do you do drunken style? Do you do monkey style? Yes, we do those. And an easy way, if you've done dance or gymnastics in the past and you want to revive your split technique, is just to start with an open straddle. So that would be out here, heels as far apart as you can, palms on the floor. And again, just trying to get comfortable with that tailbone sit in this open position, and then rotating from the belt line. Your first goal is to get the elbows to touch the floor. Then you can put one hand in front, push from the back, open the feet wider, and then get the next pressing levels in there. Until your head bangs on the floor. So, again, slowly, one thing at a time. The upper advanced level is to not only perform these things, but make them useful for self-defense. Main goal, of course, of Kung Fu, and actually for Tai Chi as well, is eventually getting to the self-defense application. So someone's trying to put you in a joint lock. Someone's trying to suspend the leg-hip connection. Well, we overtrain that from the Shaolin idea. And this is one of them. I'm going to have John help me with this. You sit in the butterfly or monkey holds feet position, and then you have your partner stand on your legs. So he puts the foot here and here. And you take his body weight into your leg-hip connection. He's probably working harder than I am to hold his balance. But then once you get him there, then you can start doing leg lifts. How much do you weigh, John?
200 pounds.
200-pound leg lift. And at this point, because I've done it for a while, it's pretty easy. So you get the stretch, you get the strength value. But again, kids, don't try this at home. That's an advanced level connection for your stretching. The other one I'll show you real quick. When we do drunken style and monkey, depends on what the style or the form is, there is a split in there. And it's usually, pressing out a drunken style is usually something you can walk into a little bit. So you press to the ground, throw the feet, and then work your way back into the split a little bit more this way. and dry out. So, but it takes a little bit of time. It takes probably on normal conditions, no ankle, knee, or hip problems, no lower back problems. If you're around teens, 20s, 30s, probably about 5 to 6 months to get into a full split like that comfortably. And it will change the individual. Okay, so let's go into our question and answer period. Anybody has questions out there?
Thank you very much, Mark. That was very, very educational. And the first question is, what causes arthritis? And can you go over some of the hand motions again to help people with arthritis in their hands?
Right. Arthritis or any kind of arthritic glitch, rheumatoid, bursitis, they all fall under kind of the same family, or at least give you the same feeling of non-use. What you should do, in my opinion, is self-massage. Now, the stretching, the flexibility is good. Sometimes arthritis happens because of overuse. I've played guitar since I've been 5 years old. I keep waiting for carpal tunnel or arthritis to sit in. I do constant left and right hand work on the guitar. Also Chinese instruments. I play the sona, right? The Chinese trumpet. I play the Chinese lute, the Zhong. So far, that hasn't happened. I'm still good to go. But I think self-massage is the best thing for that. So let's say, because I've had a lot of my students, older seniors, complain about arthritic conditions in the heel of the thumb, as well as carpal tunnel. We'll cover that too. So taking the thumb point, get a little closer, and massaging actually into the meat or muscle of the thumb in a rotational application. You start from the base, the heel of the hand, the largest part of the thumb hub, and then work your way down to the actual thumb itself. Getting that constant self-heat massage application is very good for any kind of arthritic condition. When you do reach the thumb, just like making a Play-Doh snake, take your index finger and thumb and roll from the base of the thumb all the way out to the tip. Now, you can do that with every single finger. And same thing with either side of the hand. You can do it with your feet, from the heel all the way through the ball of the foot and toes, the same thing. Self-massage is great. If you have anything at home like, older applications, Bengay, Absorbing Junior, Tiger Balm, Icy Hot, Blue Emu, any of those balm applications to rub on, use them, right? In Chinese, we always talk about, acupuncture and herbs. Well, if you go to China and go to a Chinese hospital, they use everything, right? They use synthetic drugs, they use massage techniques, they use exercise, including acupuncture and herbs. So anything that can help, you use it.
So following on to that, Mark, we have another question. So are we using the white tiger, hedadil, the Chinese stuff at the same time we're exercising, or is that after we finish exercising?
No, you can use it at the same time. The white tiger bruise medicine that you get from it's called the Oriental Herb Company. They're out of Florida. It's very good. It's probably one of the best herbal applications that I've used. You don't ingest it, you don't drink it, you just rub it on as a liquid balm. But it's very good for not only bruising, but sore muscles of any kind. Let's say you just, you don't listen to Uncle Mark and you go outside and rake your leaves. You don't warm up. Next day you're sore. Use that white tiger balm or anything like that. Tiger balm gives you heat massage application as well. And rub and massage the muscles, whatever's sore. The carpal tunnel I want to cover real quick. Again, John, if you can help me. We do a stretching application, for the hand that goes from the base of the wrist through that carpal tunnel ridge. And it's taking the fingers and the thumb and pressing it back to stretch that area. Okay. After you stretch it back, it doesn't feel good, but it's very good for your hand and wrist. Then you pulse the hand wrist connection and turn it. Okay. This really opens up all the muscle groups that sometimes cinch or compress that carpal tunnel ridge, and it relieves the pain, or sometimes the numbness and tingling that happens there. So that's the standard application, pressing and pulsing. Do the same thing, both hands, right? Or the reverse of that, getting the top of the wrist forearm, making a bird's beak with the fingers and pressing this in so that the thumb fingers actually touch the forearm. And I know it looks a little extreme, and I'm not double jointed. There's no such thing as double jointed unless a person is actually born with two joints in the area, and that would be visually obvious, right? This is just training into hyperflexibility, again, for self-defense reasons. So I train this one, right, to stretch and touch. Someone grabs a hold of me and they try to put me in an arm lock and they push the hand in, there's no pain. He's working really hard. I can do anything else to get out of the situation. So the flexibility application, again, for us, eventually is the goal. Thanks, John.
Now, and we have another question, Mark, about shoulder injuries. A lot of people have, I'm thinking it's not cold shoulder, it's the shoulder cuff injury. And so can you overdo it? Like, what types of exercise that you showed would help that area, because we can actually injure ourselves in the shoulder cuff. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, if you already have a injury, a glitch, or problem with a joint muscle connection, yeah, you can overdo it. And even though an exercise per se might be good for the area, if you overdo it or put too much isometric pressure into the action, you could aggravate it, even more. So let's for example say the rotator cuff in the shoulder, very basic one. Many people have injured that one. Just letting the arm hang, let your own arm weight hang, and then lifting from the oblique lat connection, roll it back through the shoulder. So it's getting, again, multiple muscle groups that surround that problem. The next one would be the one we covered earlier, doing that shoulder roll, almost like swimming side to side. Now, here's the advanced extreme level of it. Standing or sitting, doesn't matter, right? You want to take that down to intermediate level. Just let the arm relax in front of you a little bit instead of all the way from the back center line. If you really have a sore area or a bad injury there, and you're starting off from scratch for therapy purposes, you might want to let the arm or elbow hang on your thigh and do very small coils inside this way, just off of your lap, just to get it started, so that eventually, once your range of motion and the pain goes away, then you can get up to full large frame level again. But also, don't forget, self-massage, taking a knuckle point or the thumb point and rotate, massage around those injury areas. Then apply your absorbing junior or tiger bruise medicine or tiger balm, whatever you have available. Also, don't discount, a lot of people nowadays, especially the younger generation, boy, they hit the shower and they're gone for work, right? Don't discount bathtubs. Bathtubs are very good to get a nice warm water drawn and soak any muscle injury.
Our next question, Mark, is a lot of the people are traveling now after the pandemic. So if you're on a plane for a long flight to China or Taiwan or to Asia, what types of exercise do you recommend in a small space since you're confined to an airplane?
Right. So we want to keep that blood flow going, especially in the larger muscles, right? So senior citizens and above, my opinion, The people around you might not like it, but we don't care. Stand up, go to the bathroom, whether you have to go to the bathroom or not, right? Get the leg hip action moving. Yeah, you have that 13 to 14 hour flight to China, you're going to need some extra leg movement. If you have room in your flight seat, raise your knee as high as you can in place and hug it to your chest and flex and release that. Keep that moving. Also, as quietly as you can still do some slapping around the thigh, over and under. Those are, again, the larger muscle groups. My joke to my group classes are, if you can lift your leg and you're sitting beside someone, you might make a new friend. Let them slap your leg, you know.
That's very funny, Mark. We're coming up on the hour now in about a couple of more minutes. Aside from the senior citizens, generally, what is your best advice for people who are very short on time? Like how many minutes a day, and what's like the quick version of what you just did? What do you recommend?
Right, the 20 to 30-year-old, I have to get to work version is, you know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And you can do that throughout the day. Maybe in the morning, as soon as you wake up, you know, stand out of bed and just do that basic lift and open. Include maybe the calf raise. Do that, you know, maybe 5-6 times. Then even just throwing the arms, twisting side to side. This is a good twist and massage value for the intestinal ridge. Right? That's all the time you have. Great. Go to work. Maybe at lunch hour, do the same thing, or pick a different stretch exercise. Do 5 minutes of that. Maybe at the evening when you get home, maybe not right before you go to bed, because all this stretching, of course, activates the adrenaline in the body as well and kind of wakes you up. But maybe a little bit before supper or after supper is digested, do a few stretches again. Give yourself an hour and a half or so before you hit the bed. You know, you can do it hit or miss like that throughout the day. It will accumulate as far as the benefit goes.
Well, that's just wonderful, Mark. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Moy Family Association. Mark is the Moy Family Association advisor to traditions and customs. And from time to time, he just gives his valuable and generous expertise to help all of us. And we're very, very thankful that Mark is part of our leadership team. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Evelyn. And I want to thank John Spork. He's my 2D or indoor student. He's been with me for 11 and a half years now. And he's always, again, giving his time and helping with the tech end of this and helping me demonstrate.
Let's get John in there. John,
yeah,
come back from out of the camera so everybody can see who you are.
It's a face made for radio.
So, yeah, John's been with me for, again, 11 and a half years. He's competed. He's gotten first place all around the nation. He studied with some of my older teachers that are still around. And he's doing just a great job. Great job. He's a good student, a good friend.
Thank you very much, John. Do you want to say a few words to, we're live on Facebook right now. So you want to say a few words?
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time we meet.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, John. And thank you everybody online. Bye-bye.
Thank you to the Moy Association again.
Thank you, Mark and John. Bye-bye.